Hi, everybody in YouTube land. Hi, and congratulations, Victory Shout, New Zealand, for having a prime minister who knows how to deal with horribleness. I think you guys had one case and she shut the fucker down again. She's like, nobody's coming in. We're fine. Thank you. You stay over there in a house for 14 days. Everybody else, we'll wait till you guys are clear again, and then we're not gonna fuck around with this nonsense. So I appreciate our New Zealander friends, our Kiwis down there, for having the foresight to recognize a real problem and deal with it. Speaking of recognizing a real problem and dealing with it, I'm going to be one of the few people you're going to see on almost any form of media, it seems, to unequivocally say, I stand by what Joe Biden is doing. I understand his reasoning. I respect it. I find the situation that we were in Afghanistan untenable, that every solution that was given always added 3 to 5 months to 10 months, and then it went on and on and on and on, and nobody can convince me after the swift fall of Afghanistan to the Taliban that we were doing anything but standing at a dam with our fingers in the holes that were breaking, going, when do I get to run? So, just for a variance of opinion, we always look for a diversity of opinion out there. And right now, it seems left to right, like everybody is happy blaming Biden for cleaning up the mess everyone handed him. Especially the Trump fans, who magically seem to create this fantasy that Trump's exit would have been gorgeous, gold leaf toilets, that whole business. And yet, all 4 years, he did fuck all. His biggest move to get troops out of the country happened because he was trying to get them all out randomly by election day because he was desperate against Joe Biden. I'm not buying any of it. I'm not buying the we coulda, we shoulda. I'm not buying they shoulda known. I'm not buying that they could have come out in public. This is the part that drives me nuts, and I see this so often. The Pentagon was giving this rosy picture the last couple of months from the Biden administration, while behind the scenes they were starting to work on more visas and set this date. Well, first of all, the date was known since Biden became president. I think it was 2 weeks later he announced the 9/11 anniversary as the absolute window. The idea was being out a couple of weeks earlier. That's exactly the time scale we are on right now. And knowing full well, the whole thing was fucked into a cocked hat. So this idea that somehow they were going to come out in June when they knew that the Afghan government was paper thin, that Trump had pulled the rug out from under them and the military last year when he negotiated a peace deal between the Taliban and us to not shoot our soldiers and as we leave, and didn't involve the Afghan government. At that point, there was like a tacit understanding that the president of the United States last year said, look, we know you guys are going to have the country next year. Just don't shoot our troops as we leave. And all processes started that way. He even got the dude who's running the Taliban right now out of jail from Pakistan to negotiate the deal. So can we stop pretending that there was ever a red carpet velvet rope version of leaving Afghanistan? This fantasy is bugging the shit out of me. It is unrealistic to the point of childish, and it is exactly why the 20 years happened, because we were doing these 3, 5, 10-month punts all the goddamn time. Now, we also find out, and I don't know why this isn't factoring into everybody else's thinking, we also find out that the generals were painting a relatively rosy picture, knowing on the ground that the troops and the training guys who were there, who are largely hired hands, they're not military, they're contractors. They were relaying to their superiors like, these fucking guys aren't learning anything, and the ones that are making deals with the Taliban to turn sides as soon as the shit hits the fan. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And then middle of last year, during COVID, they can't even do the training exercises with these guys, allegedly, who, whether they wanted to help them or not, because there's no mask mandate, there's no vaccination. This was in the middle of fucking COVID. So our soldiers were having to put themselves up against a deadly virus to train people who were either not going to use the training or were going to use it on behalf of the Taliban. And at what point, so we know we're leaving. We know that September 11th is the day. We're out, right? This has been an established number. It was May 1st by Trump, and we punted it so that we could get some of the VICs out, the CIVs out, the special immigrant visas. Getting those folks out became the priority, but still within that timeline, because if we keep punting the timeline, those people keep staying. A bunch of those people were like, I'll stay here until you're absolutely leaving, then I'm going. So, or they start applying and it takes a long time. They waited till this year or even last year to start their visa application. By the way, a visa they never had to use once they had it. So in many ways, when Trump came into office, we could have processed almost all these people in 4 years. And those folks could have left the country if and when we decided to pull our troops out at the day. The fact that we are playing catch up with these visas is proof that the Trump administration did fuck all. Now we're dealing with a situation where, Afghanistan is a country for the Afghans, and that is something that they have to work out. But we have been talking about leaving for years. And so this mad dash to the airport by some folks is a little mind-boggling. And I'm sure that the Afghans who over the last 3 years in particularly have started moving into Iran and other surrounding countries because they can see the writing on the wall. Those people are probably looking at the folks at the Kabul airport who aren't embassy staff and going, you thought they were staying forever? Now in this particular situation, 7 months in, Biden has looked at this, and we now know the intelligence assessment that he got about 2 months ago was that the generals and I guess the next tier down from them as far as who's handling in terms of the contractors, I don't know what their referential person is that they report in there, but those guys were all telling the truth about what was happening. And the guys above them were going, it's okay, we're fine. We just need a little more time, a little more money, some more weapons, and we're cool. Just give us a little, 3 more months, 6 more months, we'll seriously lock down. And Biden gets an IC briefing that says, yeah, that's bullshit. Yeah, that's the same bullshit we've heard for years. It hasn't changed. It's not going to change. There is not a day where these guys are going to stand up to the Taliban in any strong way in terms of protecting the fucking country. And it might be 3 months from now or 5 months from now, but 10 months from now, but there is no there. And that's when he made the decision to lock into this date by hook or by crook and use it as, to kind of motivate the folks that are going to come with us, those special immigrant visa folks, to start leaving for real. Because a lot of them were dragging their feet. That's what he meant when he said some of them don't want to go. So this idea that there's a version of reality where this somehow would have worked with anybody in charge, much less, certainly not Trump, who never tried, and somehow Biden should know better, and if we'd only, it'd get better, and therefore the minute we started leaking people out of the country on those visas, and the word starts to spread about who's getting their papers in order and who's filing these visas over a protracted amount of time. Let's say we push this off to Christmas. And over the next 6 months, the Taliban has already taken the area, or is starting to take the area, because the Afghan government's not going to do anything. They know this. But we punt to make this. We're going to hold the Kabul airport and a road from the center of Kabul to that. And we start bringing out these folks. That's just 6 more months of them targeting these families and these people inside the country. This was always going to be an escape. I, honest to God, am so sick and tired of the backseat driving part of this when we're finally getting out. especially by the people who, when they were backseat driving this in the first place, were always like 3 more months, 5 more months, 10 more months. And we now know from the people who served there on the ground, they just interviewed a contractor on the news, and he was like, yeah, this is a lost cause. This is not, nothing's changing. We've been working with these guys for years, and nothing is changing. So why do you leave troops there? Why do you put soldiers in a country that doesn't want us there? There's not a functioning government that will exist without us. And it's amazing to me the number of people who decry colonization all the time, who are saying, we need to invade right now. We need to get back in there. We need a lot more people to protect this thing that we built, right? And if we don't, at least we can steal their women. We can fly all the women out of the country. This is a horrible, complex situation. And the folks that are treating it like, 3 more months would have solved it, it's just brutal. We can protect those that sided with us and get them out. We can certainly extend visas to women who are in power there, in journalism positions and in other areas, and threaten the Taliban, which we are clearly doing, with violent strikes on camps that they have throughout, and going, this as part of our war on terror. We mean you. So if you start fucking around too much, and we see like a Nanking type of situation, understand we're not going to put boots on the ground again, but you can be damn sure there's going to be a lot of buzzing of drones over you and a lot of explosions. They're hearing that. Whether or not they'll hold is sort of none of our business. I mean, and none of these people are suggesting that we invade the areas held by Boko Haram and set up a military base and handhold the government. So the conversation about this that offends me the most, I think, is this ridiculous idea that somehow there was going to be a magical outcome. Oh, and on the Trump side of things, that if Trump was in, it would have been a lot better. He would have done a lot better at the thing he could have tried but never did. And why did he never try it? Same reason he tried to pull troops out before the election. Because he wanted to say, we're out, I don't care. Because if the shit had hit the fan November 4th, it's too late. You already voted for him for getting the troops out a day ago. And they still were banking on it would take 5 to 10 months. He was getting the same advice. But the art of the deal told him that if I talk to the Taliban, they don't shoot our folks, we won't have any dead soldiers, so nobody will give a rat's ass about the people of Afghanistan, especially the SIV folks. Does anybody think Trump was really interested in saving the translators and the guides that worked with us? He didn't even want to take American citizens with COVID off a fucking cruise ship because it would add 62 to his number. So I'm not having it. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who are. You can find all over the news plenty of people who are wringing their hands and gnashing their teeth and flipping out about this whole fucking thing and saying it coulda, shoulda, woulda. I don't buy it. I'm not going to buy it. And if this is the only place you get that perspective, cool. I have done my duty. You can factor that into your thinking and process it with all the other stuff you know, and judge based on that. And while you're making a judgment about what I'm saying, you do know that way back behind your eyeballs, halfway through your brain, in the functioning part, you largely think the same thing. So, good luck with that. So that's I'm just going to stay. I'm going to state that I also stick to my prediction that they're going to shut down, that Biden's going to shut down Guantanamo. And by the time he gets around to it, it will be such a news story that and with the same wailing and gnashing of teeth by the people who are freaking out right now, that they'll forget about Afghanistan. They'll forget what they were clamoring about, because 3 months will have passed and we'll be on to the next story. So that's that.